So I know Mike has wanted the smoke and Andrew has wanted the smoke for some time. So, here you are. I am here for you guys, and you guys can do as you will.
So we
Yeah. So tell us, JP, is Jesus Yahweh?
Yes.
Is the Father Yahweh?
Yes.
How many Yahwehs is that?
There are one Yahweh.
Oh, so Jesus is the Father.
No.
Oh, so then there are two Yahwehs then.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are
JP,
Yahweh.
answer the question.
Or one.
Answer the question.
But
Okay.
I see my verse isn't getting, because you see you guys come at my
Here you are evading. No, you're not going to evade. If Jesus is Yahweh and the Father is Yahweh and Jesus is not the Father, then you have two Yahwehs.
Well, let's simplify
That's checkmate. It's
Let me
over.
help you out, brother, please.
Yahweh is not a group name. It's not a title for a class of being. Yahweh is a proper personal name, and proper personal names belong to proper persons. If you have two persons and both of them have the proper personal name Yahweh, then you have two Yahwehs.
Done.
Genesis chapter 17 has not been addressed. Somebody looked at Yahweh in the face when the Bible is clear that nobody has seen the Father and lived. Who is that Yahweh if no one has seen the Father's face? So I wanted to bring.
Okay, JP, did I tell you that this is a theophany? Did I say that?
Yes, but
okay. So then the question was answered.
Genesis chapter 17 has not been addressed.
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
All right, JP, define theophany. What is a theophany?
A theophany would be when, for example, the angel of the Lord, or an example would be, some would argue, the bush, the burning bush, things like that. Pre-incarnate Christ.
Listen, no, that's a Christophany. You don't know what you're talking about. A theophany is a visible manifestation of God.
Oh, so I was
God.
right.
Okay, JP, if you want to complain about Andrew cutting you off, then I'm going to have to call you out for cutting me off. Remain quiet.
JP, he's correct now, JP. Let's allow
Mike. Say I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, and you don't, because you didn't know the difference between a theophany and Christophany. Let me clip this. Future Michael, play the replay.
Pre-incarnate Christ.
Okay, so you're here in Genesis 17. I'd just like to know. Genesis 18 says that 3 men showed up to Abraham. Right? You know this story?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so are all 3 of them Yahweh, or is just one of them? Right, just one of them.
Yes.
So interesting, he calls them a man. So when Abraham saw this man who was called Yahweh, is that seeing the face of the Father?
No, because he was.
No, so it's a theophany, okay? Seeing a manifestation of God does not equal the fullness of the Father.
Okay, all right.
I am here for you guys, and you guys can do as you will.
One of the best examples is Exodus 3. Depending on the verse that you look at in that chapter, whoever is talking to Moses is called God, he's called Lord, or he's called the angel of the Lord. So whoever it is, it's God, Lord, and the angel of the Lord. And there are plenty of other verses I could point to that identify or call the angel of the Lord God or Lord.
Okay, listen, a genitive construction means that they are not the same in their identity. So think of it, let's use a different example.
Okay.
If I said the house of David, is the house David? No, because of is a genitive construction connecting two nouns. Okay, it's a genitive of relationship of origin or source. Okay, it's the same thing with the angel of the Lord. Okay, if it was the Lord, it would just say the Lord, right? Like a theophany, but it's the angel of the Lord. Another thing here too. This is well known in scholarship. You guys can act like you don't see it. You can choose not to study it. But the name of Yahweh is a communicable vehicle of divine agency. Okay, so an angel can possess the name of Yahweh because it represents the authority of Yahweh. This is why Jesus says, I come in my Father's name. Okay, what is that name? That's Yahweh. Okay, so that it shows you that Jesus does not have the same name as the Father.
Yeah. So if you have something X of the Y or X of Y, I agree that in many, many cases, those two things are obviously being distinguished, like sort of Gideon. Okay?
Awesome.
There's nothing, however, there's nothing about that construction that necessitates it. And the only example I can give you that came off the top of my head, I'm gonna nerd out like I'm gonna Star Trek nerd out for a second. 7 of 9, okay, is a designation. and it uses the genitive construction. It's referring to one being, 7 of 9.
7 of 9 actually just means 7 out of 9. You're talking about members of a group. That's not a genitive construction, Seth. That's a partitive construction.
Furthermore, so let's take your example, right? And I think I know what you're saying. What you're saying there is let's replace 9 with Yahweh. And then you would say something like the son of Yahweh, right? But then you would have to say something like the father of Yahweh. And that doesn't make sense because Yahweh is a proper personal name and proper personal names belong to proper persons. So if the father's name is Yahweh and the son's name is Yahweh, then you have 2 Yahwehs. Just like if the father's name
I
is
agree, there are 2 Yahwehs, 2 persons called Yahweh.
Hold on. How many Yahwehs did you just say there are?
Well, I believe in 3, but in the example that you gave,
3 Yahwehs.
That's
3
Mormonism.
persons called
They are
called-
one.
Mormonism.
3
They are
persons.
Thank you.
3 persons
So how
all
many-
called Yahweh.
3 Yahwehs.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
perfect. Listen, I want to point out a problem that I think this passage entails for you if what you're saying is true. Do you agree that Yahweh is the highest being in existence?
Yep.
So then Yahweh cannot have a God.
If Yahweh puts on flesh, for sure you can. In Jeremiah, 27, I believe it says that God's the God of all flesh. So that's what Trinitarian theology is.
I didn't say can the flesh have a God. I said can Yahweh have a God? Okay.
Does Jesus put on flesh?
You're
the
not
person
answering.
of the person of Jesus can have a God.
Okay. Can Yahweh have a God? Albert, basic question.
Jesus, who is one of the persons of God, who is known as Yahweh, can have a God. Yes. I don't know how many times you want me to say it.
Why don't you just say yes? Yahweh can have a God.
Because I'm not going to have you try to not understand what I'm saying. I'm making myself clear by the statement.
What do you
I'm talking
mean?
about.
What do you mean? You're saying you believe this is saying he's Yahweh.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm asking you, can Yahweh have a God?
Again, the second person, who is Jesus, who is Yahweh, can have a God. Yes.
And what sense do you believe Jesus is Yahweh? By identification or predication?
The reason why I reject your identity claim of transitivity is because it only equates to a unipersonal being. It doesn't equate or it doesn't account for a tripersonal being. So I reject your view of that.
This is one of the basic laws of logic. If you're saying that Jesus is
Yes,
Yahweh,
for a unipersonal being.
There's no law of logic that only applies to unipersonal beings. It applies.
Well, that's not true. I mean, we can talk to Dr. Joshua Sijuwade. You can talk to Dr. Josh Tweed.
No, he
Dr.
agrees
Bo
with
Brenton,
us.
a bunch of
He
different
agrees with us. He believes Jesus is God only by predication.
Wait, so he agrees with you. So you believe that Jesus is God?
By predication.
No. You believe that Jesus is God, the one
by
God.
predication. He can be
So
called.
No. That's not what he believes. He said, Dr. Joshua, since you wanted to bring it up, he believes that Jesus is the one God.
No, you're sleeping. What we're saying is Dr. Sijuwade agrees with us that the Father alone is Yahweh by identity. He believes that the Son is Yahweh only by predication. So what I'm asking you, are you saying that Jesus is God by identity or predication?
Again, I reject your claim of transitive identity.
Laws of logic. So you lose, you forfeit the right to make a truth claim.
Wait, what? How?
And all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. So would you all agree right here that the agent of Christ is this spiritual rock?
Yeah, and just because Jesus and the Father may share a metaphor doesn't mean they're the same being.
So is Paul calling Jesus the spiritual rock?
Yes,
many Israelites drank from.
They can share a title, and that does not entail that they are the same being. So that you're just you would have to argue for that.
So can I finish? So you're saying that Paul is calling Christ the rock that the Israelites drank and ate from, correct?
Okay, can you show,
by faith.
But in the
so who's saying and who is that rock?
In the Old Testament, there's not a single instance in the Old Testament where a rock followed them around. Okay,
you will never see that.
Okay, neither is Yahweh in the Old Testament. You have to
understand. Yes, he is, bro. I just showed you right here in Deuteronomy 32, 3-4. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's called the rock, but he's not.
Isaiah 44:8, bro. It literally says, "For fear not, nor be afraid."
You're not tracking. You need to speak less and listen more.
From
no, you're not. You're literally not tracking.
You are my witnesses. Is there a God beside me?
It doesn't say that it followed them around in the wilderness.
So
and
you're
gave
saying
them
that
water.
Yahweh who
Okay. So let me ask you a few questions, and maybe we can close this out.
no more questions. Y'all, both of you all were dishonest.
Do you believe that Jesus is the same rock that is described in the Old Testament with Yahweh?
Amen.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, so is Jesus the Father?
The Father is never described as the rock. Show me where the Father is described as the rock.
The question is
Again,
for you.
reframe.
For what part of your denial of the pre-existence is you're saying when they speak about him, when they personify him as wisdom or the Logos, this is only notional.
I have a ton of good examples for you to establish notional pre-existence. Okay, let's just start firing them. So 1 Peter 1:20, talking about Jesus, says that he was foreknown. Okay, this word foreknown is talking about notional pre-existence. That's what it's mental knowledge. He foreknew. But Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Okay, notional pre-existence.
but before we
Okay,
get off
no,
base,
I'm not done.
Well, I'm going to get to that. That's part of my question. I just wanted to define the terms with you guys, who the word of the Lord is.
Well, you're
when you
assuming
see
it's a
him
who,
appear.
though. You're saying it's a who. You're assuming that it's a what? It's a message.
Well, that's why I'm asking you, because when he, for example, the first part is when he appears to Abraham in a vision and he speaks to him. I know he's identified as the Lord himself. So that is the Lord to you guys appearing as the word or speaking as the word, or how are you? What is your
He's
understanding of that?
manifesting or communicating. It's a communication from Yahweh.
Yeah, I got you right here.
Right.
Okay, so check this out. So here's the passage, 1 Kings 19. All right, so first thing I want to point out is that, listen, if it's containing the genitive construction here of Yahweh, what Andrew said is true. This is not appositional, right? It doesn't say the word Yahweh. It says the word of Yahweh. That's number one. Number two, this is a classic misunderstanding of what the word even is. Okay, so here it is, the word. What is it? Let's pull up the original. This means speech.
Oh my God.
It's a word. Okay, so you can laugh, but when Andrew told you that this is a message from the Lord, you scoffed at that. But that's actually what the word means. It's a word. When it says the word came to Isaiah, it's saying Yahweh's speech. Yeah, Yahweh is Yahweh. The word isn't Yahweh.
Okay, granted. Now, what happened in verse 9 then?
Nothing.
Wait, I mean, sorry, verse 11. What happened in verse 11?
Still nothing. There's no problem here. He told him to go stand before Yahweh.
Bro, but you have to
Go
understand.
stand before himself?
Bro, you have to look at.
Like, how easy would it have been if God was like, and then Jesus said, right? And then he could say, and then Jesus said, go stand before the Father. No, instead, what appears is the same name, Yahweh.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is referring to the same person because Yahweh is a name that applies to a person. So, like, to me, this is just reaching. These are like laughable arguments. Like, this is what you got to squeeze out. You know, when it's totally dry, you don't got much.
Yeah, I'm good. I'd love to direct my questions to Metaphysic Mike, if that's possible, just because of your name. I think you would be more capable, taking that name, you should be more capable of things that I want to bring to the table.
Okay, so to begin to understand the metaphysics, okay, the problems here, okay, I got to ask you a few questions. So what is a nature? Define it.
A nature?
Yeah.
I don't learn all these things. The nature, it's the characteristics of something.
Close. It's like the essential fundamental characteristics of something. So they're not just any characteristics, they're essential chareristics. Okay. Yeah. Wait, you shaking your head? You don't like metaphysics now? Okay. Okay. All right. So what define? All right. Now define person, right? You believe God is one nature, essence, or substance, and three persons. Now define person. What is a person?
Person is something that's separate. But we were
Okay, so
talking about
so I
spirits.
just want to let you know right off the jump, you come in to talk about metaphysics. You don't know what a nature is or what a person is in Trinitarian definitions. Okay, you don't know. All right, so listen. All right, So a few more questions. Okay, are the persons of the Trinity fully and equally God?
Yes.
Okay, are the persons of the Trinity truly distinct, meaning Jesus is not the Father?
Positioning.
Okay,
The
how many
spiritual
persons are there?
3.
Okay, so here we go. If the persons of the Trinity are fully and equally God, and the persons are distinct, and there's 3 persons, then you have 3 distinct gods because the persons are God and they are distinct from each other. You accept the first 3 premises, but then deny the conclusion that necessarily follows. Okay, please, dude. You're not here to have an honest conversation if you keep cutting me off. Appealing to superposition in the 6 principles of quantum physics cannot explain away basic logical laws. Okay, if the persons are God and the persons are distinct, then God is distinct 3 times.
Our position is that text doesn't mean what you say it means.
What does quantum entanglement mean?
That when Jesus is talking about being in people and I am in the Father and that and I'm in them, it's not talking about being the same being as them. It's a metaphorical language. So that's our answer. Next.
Define quantum entanglement for me, please, Andrew.
Dude, quantum entanglement, Adam, please. Quantum entanglement is not some theological license to try and bypass basic logical laws. Okay, superposition is not like synonymous for 3 persons and 1 being. Okay, physics may limit our knowledge, but it doesn't rewrite basic logical laws. Okay, in order for your analogy to be good, it must actually preserve logic. Okay, not defy it. That's what you've presented, and I think clearly you're confused and didn't even know the basics behind the doctrine of the Trinity.